Be honest with me for a second. You hit that income goal, you're making multiple six figures a year, maybe even more, but the financial stress, it didn't go away, did it? It actually got worse. The paycheck is bigger, but the bank account feels the same. You're not worried about putting food on the table anymore. At this point, you're laying awake at night wondering where it all goes. This is not about cutting out your daily coffee or clipping coupons. This is about the hidden income traps that are inside high-income lifestyles that nobody warns you about. By the end of this video, you're going to have a cash flow clarity plan to break through from this cycle for good. Here's the thing. When you were making $80,000 a year, your financial problems were simple. Everything was visible and the math was straightforward. But once you cross that multiple six-figure threshold, something shifts. It's a psychological shift where you go from spending from survival to spending out of status. Your problems become invisible and extremely complex because you're not just managing a budget anymore. You're managing a small enterprise with multiple income streams, complex investments, and a lifestyle that has its own expensive momentum. This is what I call the golden handcuffs, because your fixed cost balloons to match your income. The mortgage on the house in the right school district, the private school tuition, and the car payments feel necessary to maintain a certain image. The lifestyle creep, it's not about wanting nicer things. It's about keeping up with the pressure of the new social and professional circle. And the research is clear on this. High income owners report either similar and sometimes even worse financial pressure than people that are in the middle class. Why? Because there's a dangerous silent assumption that income growth automatically solves everything. And it doesn't. It just changes the game. You're playing a different sport with different rules, and if you don't learn them, you'll find yourself running in place, feeling the squeeze no matter how much money you earn. The problem is not your income. The problem is the system that you've built around your income. Now, let's talk about the biggest shock for most high earners, the tax trap. When you were at a lower bracket, taxes was just something that came out of your check and you got a refund for it. Taxes back then, it was simple. But at this rate, taxes is a beast. Taxes now could be like the gut punch that you just don't want to experience. You're suddenly facing the highest marginal rates. And here's the kicker. Some of the tax credits and write-offs before have now phased out at this income level. You're making more, but surprisingly, you're keeping a smaller percentage of every dollar that you earn. Then there's the alternative minimum tax, or AMT. Let me explain. It's like a parallel tax system specifically to ensure that high-income owners pay a minimum amount of taxes regardless of how many deductions that they have. So you might do everything right. You might have significant state and local tax deductions and even mortgage interest. But the AMT still says, nope, we recalculated, your mortgage and interest, and you still owe us more. It completely negates the benefits of those deductions for most people. And it doesn't stop there. As your wealth grows, your investment grows. You start generating investment income, dividends, capital gains, interest. This creates a whole new layer of tax complexity that requires proactive planning, not just reactive filing. The biggest mistake I see is high-income earners who do not plan for quarterly filing. They get a massive salary, they spend it throughout the year, and then they get hammered with this 5 or even 6-figure tax bill that they didn't save for when they get this bill in April. This forces them to go in debt or liquidate their assets, which starts a vicious cycle. The tax trap isn't just about paying more. It's about cash flow disruption, and it's about the complexity that drains your mental energy and your bank account if you don't prepare accordingly. You have to stop treating taxes like an annual event and start treating it like a quarterly cash flow evaluation strategy that is something that you need to pay attention to. Now, let's talk about what is often the single biggest line item on your budget, and it feels like it should be an investment, but most often it feels more like a weight and an anchor. That is your home. You've probably heard the old rule of thumb that your house should cost about 3 times the amount of your annual income. But that actually breaks down when you get to the $250,000 mark. I mean, think about it. 3 times a $250,000 income is a $750,000 house. And a lot of the metropolitan areas where high income jobs are very dense, those people that work in these areas, more than likely to get a $750,000 home, that can get you a nice home, but it's going to be modest. And it's not going to be the house in the top tier neighborhood that have the best schools where you feel pressured to buy. So what happens? You stretch. You go 5, maybe even 6 times over your income, and you tell yourself it's for your kids, it's an investment, it's for your future. And here's the reality. The mortgage payment is just a starting point. The real wealth killers are the force multipliers that come with owning such an expensive house. Your property taxes are now a massive second mortgage payment that you pay every year. Maintenance on high value homes is exponentially more. That new roof is no longer $10,000. Now it's $40,000. The landscaping, the pool service, the insurance premiums, it all scales up fast. Your home, which was supposed to become your sanctuary, has now become a cash flow prison. Every month, a huge portion of your income is automatically earmarked just to take care of the asset itself. And then there's the social pressure, the keeping you up with the Joneses effect in your neighborhood. When everyone in your street is renovating their kitchen or putting in a new patio, that silent pressure can feel immense. You start justifying these upgrades as adding value, but the truth is they rarely bring financial peace. They just add more fixed costs and more complexity. You upgrade from a $1.2 million house to a $1.8 million house, and your stress levels doesn't go down. Your property tax bill and your maintenance worries just go up. You've traded one set of problems for a more expensive, more elegant version of the same stress. The goal should be to own your home. You don't want your home to own you. And just when you thought you've accounted for all of the big stuff, we have to talk about the invisible chains that hold so many high-income families back, which is debt. This isn't simple debt from your 20s. This is sophisticated, seemingly justifiable debt that follows you into your success. First, there are the student loans that you took out to get that degree, to get you that high-paying job that didn't magically disappear when you signed that offer letter. And these type of debts can be a massive monthly drain, sometimes for decades. Then there's the transportation. At this level, a car is not just something to get you from point A to point B. It's a statement. A justifiable means, if you will, to meet with certain clients and or a reward for all of the hard work and effort that you put in. But that reward comes with a payment that feels like a second rent check. Leasing or financing luxury vehicles becomes normalized in your circle, but it's still a fixed, depreciating expense that sucks cash out of your bank account every single month. And for entrepreneurs and business owners, there's a total different layer. Business debt that's backed by a personal guarantee. You leverage your personal credit to grow your business, therefore blurring the lines between your personal finances and your business's finances. This debt is often seen as good debt because it finances growth, but even good debt still requires cash flow to service it. It still carries risk and it still weighs on you psychologically. This is the core of the problem at the income level. You're living a leveraged lifestyle. Your lifestyle is supported by a monthly web of complex obligations. Each one individually might seem manageable, but collectively, they put a ceiling on your financial freedom. You have high income on paper, but your true discretionary income, the money left over after all of your non-negotiable fixed expenses and payments are paid, is shockingly small. This is why you feel stressed, because you're working incredibly hard to service a machine that you built instead of having that machine actually work for you. The psychological weight of knowing that your paycheck is already spoken for before it even hits your account can be intense. It's the feeling of being rich in responsibility, but being poor in reality. So if the problem isn't your income, but the system you built around it, the solution, build a better system. You need to shift from budgeting to true cash flow management, because budgeting is restrictive. Cash flow management is about strategic allocation. It's the difference between being a passenger on a financial roller coaster and being the engineer that designed the tracks. I want to give you a simple and very powerful framework that I often give to my clients, and it's called the 3-bucket system. Forget dozens of categories, you just need 3 buckets. Bucket 1 is for your foundational expenses, your non-negotiable fixed costs like your mortgage, taxes, insurance, and essential debt. Bucket 2 is for your future self, your investments, savings, and debt reduction among your minimum payments. This bucket gets funded immediately before anything else. Bucket 3 is your lifestyle bucket, the money you actually get to spend on living. The goal is to maximize your income between bucket 1 and your current income, so you can massively fund bucket 2 and enjoy bucket 3 without any guilt. The first step is to identify your true discretionary income. Most people have no idea what that number is, but I want you to do a 48-hour audit of all of the things that you can capture. Go through the last 3 months of every bank account and credit card statement line by line and categorize every dollar into one of these buckets. This isn't about judgment, this is about clarity. And you will be shocked at where your money actually goes versus where you think it goes. From this audit, you build your personal financial dashboard, a one-page summary that shows your cash flow in and out, your net worth trajectory, and your true metrics. This dashboard becomes your control center, moving you from reactive to proactive. Now with clarity comes the power to make strategic moves. You're no longer just reacting to bills. You're intentionally designing your financial life. The first place to look is negotiating your fixed costs downward. Most people assume that their mortgage and their car payments are set in stone, and they're not. Can you refinance your mortgage to a lower rate? Can you shop your insurance for a lower monthly price? I had a client that saved over $400 a month just by reshopping their homeowners and their car insurance, and they saved about $5,000 a year when you really break it down, and they didn't have to change their lifestyle or change anything drastically, like not one bit. Next, let's talk tax strategy for the next 12 months, not just in April. You need to be making estimated payments. You should be looking at tax advantage accounts like HSAs and even exploring backdoor Roth IRAs. This is all about keeping more of what you already earn. Then, tackle your debt with a prioritization metrics. Don't just focus on the highest interest rates. Consider the psychological weight. Sometimes knocking out a smaller student loan, even if the interest is lower, frees up massive mental bandwidth and cash flow, creating momentum. Your assignment is to create a 90-day cash flow clarity plan. In the next 90 days, you will complete the spending audit, build your dashboard, negotiate one major fixed cost, and set up your quarterly tax plan. This is the mindset shift that goes from being a spender to being a capital allocator. You stop asking, can I afford this? And you start asking, does this expense align with my family's top financial priorities? Does it move me toward freedom or deeper into golden handcuffs? Your income is your most powerful tool. Now it's time to start utilizing it with intention. The single biggest takeaway is this: your high income is the solution, not the problem. The stress comes from the invisible systems that are working against you. You now have the framework to build a new one. Now, if this resonates with you, I want you to do two things. First, share this video with another high income friend who you know is feeling the same squeeze. Second, if this information resonates with you, click the link in the description and join us on this live workshop where I walk you through the full stress-free wealth system in detail step by step. Stop letting your lifestyle manage you, because it's time for you to manage it.